recorded.
Should I start, ma'am?
Sure, dear.
Okay. पढ़ना लिखना सोचना चिंतन मनन विचार ये है मानव जाति के उन्नति के आधार। नमस्ते, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, सत श्री अकाल। स्वागत है आपका आपके पसंदीदा शो में जिसका नाम है शिक्षा उजागर, कौन लेगा 20 में से 20 अंक, स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय रुचि मैम। शिक्षा उजागर एकमात्र ऐसा क्विज गेम शो जहां अपने ज्ञान से आप पा सकते हैं असाइनमेंट में पूरे नंबर। आइए मिलते हैं हमारे आज के प्रतिभागियों से, लीलावती कॉलेज से टीम क्यूट 5। प्रश्नों और उत्तरों के इस खेल को आगे बढ़ाने से पहले एक नजर गेम के नियमों पर। एक एक कर 6 प्रश्न आपकी स्क्रीन पर आएंगे। जहां सही जवाब आपको देगा नंबर, वहीं गलत जवाब कर देगा आपको शो से बाहर। यदि किसी प्रश्न का उत्तर देने में आप अटकते हैं, भटकते हैं, तो हमारे पास है आपके लिए हिंट एंड हिट लाइफलाइन। आइए साथियों, अब खेल को शुरू करते हैं। टीम क्यूट 5, आर यू रेडी?
Yes.
पहला प्रश्न 1 अंक के लिए आपकी स्क्रीन पर। इन अ डिफरेंट वॉइस पुस्तक किसके द्वारा लिखी गई है? Who wrote this book in a different voice? A. Carol Gilligan. B. Colbert. C. Carol Gilligan. D. Narendra Modi.
ऑप्शन ए, कैरोल गिलिगन।
Well played. इसी के साथ 1 नंबर हुआ आपका। अब कैरोल गिलिगन के बारे में हमारी एक्सपर्ट मिस अंकिता पात्रा से शी इज असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर एट लक्ष्मी नंदगुड़े कॉलेज, वेस्ट बंगाल।
Thank you, Pooja, for inviting me. Carol Gilligan, a US-based professor, feminist, ethicist, and psychologist, was a researcher assistant for Lawrence Kohlberg in 1970. She studied moral development in girls and criticized Kohlberg's work by citing its biasness against women in his theory of moral development. She found that moral development in males is different from that of females. Generalization of moral development is fallacious as seen in Kohlberg's theory, which was mainly based on boys. She argued females are psychologically different and have a different course of moral development based on issue of caring and responsibility for others, in contrast with boys, focusing primarily on issue of justice. Besides holding a number of honorary degrees, she has been listed under top 25 influential American by Time magazine in 1996. Thank you.
धन्यवाद मिस अंकिता। दूसरा प्रश्न 3 अंकों के लिए आपकी स्क्रीन पर। निम्नलिखित में से कौन सा सिद्धांत कैरोल गिलिगन के पक्ष में है? Which one is the theory in favor of Carol Gilligan? A. Unmuted theory. B. Muted theory. C. Unheard theory. D. Developmental cognitive.
ये मैंने अपनी क्लास में सुना था। ऑप्शन बी।
ऑप्शन बी, म्यूटेड थ्योरी। क्या आप श्योर हैं?
यस मैम।
बहुत ही उम्दा जवाब। आपने जीत लिए हैं 3 नंबर। जानते हैं म्यूटेड थ्योरी के बारे में एक्सपर्ट मिस स्वीटी रानी से, एचओडी एट मिल्की वे यूनिवर्सिटी जालंधर।
Thank you, Pooja, for calling my name. So, I'm here to tell about muted group theory. Muted group theory, created by Edwin Edner and Shirley Edner in 1975, is a communication theory that focuses on how marginalized groups are muted and excluded by the use of language. The main idea of MGT is that language serves its creator better than those in other groups, who have to learn to use the language as best they can. So, according to this theory, there is a two groups, dominant group and its subordinate group. The dominant group contribute mostly to formulation of the language system, including the social norm and vocabulary. Members from the subordinate have to learn the use the dominant language to express themselves. So, from the muted theory and the Gilligan theory, we can conclude that the similarity is both are talking about that girls or a woman or the feminists in our society are marginalized or be subordinate and they are unable to express their expressions in a view. So, according to mutant theory, the way they do not express their view is due to the language. Our society is a man made language. And thank you, Pooja, for calling my name once again.
थैंक यू मिस स्वीटी रानी। तीसरा प्रश्न 7 अंकों के लिए आपकी स्क्रीन पर। म्यूटेड थ्योरी के उदाहरण का चयन करो। सेलेक्ट द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ म्यूटेड थ्योरी। ए रिचुअल्स, बी मीडिया, सी स्पोर्ट्स, डी ऑल ऑफ द अबव।
C. No, D. D. I would like to go with D.
यस, मैं अपने प्रतिभागी से कहना चाहूंगी, कृपया वो रिपीट करेंगे उन्होंने क्या कहा।
D. मोहतरमा मैं D को चुनना चाहूंगा।
आप डी को चुनना चाहेंगी, ऑल ऑफ द अबव। बहुत खूब।
Yes,
इसी के
yes.
साथ 7 नंबर हुए आपके। म्यूटेड थ्योरी के थोड़े और उदाहरण जानते हैं फ्रॉम आवर एक्सपर्ट मिस्टर निखिल दगुबती, वाइस प्रिंसिपल ऑफ श्री धवला कॉलेज, मूदबिद्री, कर्नाटका।
Thank you, Pooja. I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on the show. When we talk about real life implication of muted theory, one can easily identify it in following ways. Rituals, which includes partiality in wedding traditions, ceremonies, expenses, not being that happy or celebrative on the birth of a girl child, not allowing women in last rites and funerals in particular religions. Stereotypes, which includes labelings such as fight like a man, or in Hindi we often listen खूब लड़ी मर्दानी थी वो तो झांसी वाली रानी थी. Sports, which includes considering women delicate and unfit for sports, since childhood which provides for different conditioning and resulting in incomplete development both physically and mentally. Women's sports are not also that famous as compared to men's playing the same sport. Parenthood, which includes household ways of controlling a child to behave in a particular way, defined in forms of labeling such as you are a girl or you are a boy, behave like this and be like this. Sexual harassment. Women suffers most of sexual harassment, and in today's world, girl childs are not indifferent to it. In terms of love affairs or adultery or polygamy, labeling are different for both genders. Women are often labeled with curse words, while men are often labeled with prideful terms. Gender-based language, which includes women need to talk and act authoritative like a man to be heard in public. Some terms like man meaning human, or we say like oh man, not giving equal representation to feminine related words, etc., are included in gender based labeling. And language issues. Predefined jobs and duties, which includes defining a woman's duty towards household chores and a man's duty towards earning and fulfilling other outside worldly duties. Thank you, Pooja.
थैंक यू मिस्टर निखिल। चौथा प्रश्न 10 अंकों के लिए आपकी स्क्रीन पर। निम्नलिखित में से कौन सा शिक्षा निहितार्थ का पहलू नहीं है? Which one is not the aspect of educational implication? A. Aim of education. B. School of Philosophy. C. Curriculum. D. Teaching vacancies.
मैं लाइफ लाइन ले सकती हूँ?
लाइफ लाइन लेना चाहेंगे आप? कंप्यूटर महाशय जी, इस प्रश्न के उत्तर के लिए हिंट दी जाए। कोमल जी, आप हमारे मैसेजेस में देख सकते हैं, काफी सारे हिंट्स आपको मिल रही होंगी, आप उसी के अनुसार जवाब अपना दे सकते हैं।
तो मैं लाइफ लाइन के साथ जाऊंगी एंड आंसर डी।
काबिले तारीफ प्रदर्शन, आपको मिलते हैं 10 नंबर। हमारी एक्सपर्ट मिस मुस्कान फ्रॉम पटना बीट्स कॉलेज बिहार से बताएंगी कुछ और एजुकेशनल इम्प्लीकेशंस।
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's take a view at the aims of education. So, the very first one is that there should be equality in education. Both male and female should be provided with proper and equal education. Education should be vocationalized and not confined to theoretical knowledge. Special importance should be given to women education as mentioned in Durga Bhai Deshmukh Committee. Inclusive education should be followed in school where everyone is given equal opportunity in class. The content in the books used should be updated. Any picture or language promoting gender stereotyping should be removed from the books. Teaching methods which ensure maximum involvement of students should be employed by a teacher. Such methods should not be rigid. The diversity of the class should be kept in mind while teaching and selecting these methods. Both quantity and quality of education should be focused on. Target should be to achieve a 100% literacy rate. Thank you.
थैंक यू मिस मुस्कान। पांचवा प्रश्न 14 अंकों के लिए आपकी स्क्रीन पर। क्या कैरोल गिलिगन का कार्य शिक्षा में सहायक है? Is Carol Gilligan's work helpful in education? A. Yes. B. No. C. Never. D. Maybe.
It's A. No. Yes.
कोमल जी, किस ऑप्शन को लॉक करना चाहेंगी आप?
ऑप्शन ए लॉक कर दीजिए।
ऑप्शन ए। कंप्यूटर जी, प्लीज ऑप्शन ए पर ताला लगाया जाए। अति उत्तम, सही जवाब। इसी के साथ आपको मिल गया नंबर। आइए जानते हैं शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में कैरोल गैलिगन का काम। एक्सपर्ट मिस मेघा सुंदरी से, डायरेक्टर ऑफ एमडीयू यूनिवर्सिटी हरियाणा।
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's have a look on educational implication of Gilligan's theory. Gender biasness at any level should not be promoted. Learners should be taught to respect the choices and interests of every individual at the grassroots level only. In terms of education, everyone should focus on it, and everyone's need for education is important. A person should not put need of others in front of their own, especially in case of education. Gender biasness should be avoided in the class to make students feel equal because biasness can create a lot of problems like change in students' behavior, less interest in class and studies, ignoring behavior, isolation, rudeness, etc. Design a relational classroom. Establish classroom norms that communicate the importance of empathy and relationships alongside individual academic achievement. Promote this shared understanding through deliberate use of classroom contracting self exploration exercises outlined in Outback to School Toolkit, and these classroom help design hacks. Hit all three corners of pedagogical triangle. Intellectual rigor, ethical reflection, and emotional engagement are equally important in the classroom and are essential for helping young people become informed civic actors. These principles form the three corners of our pedagogical triangle for historical and civic understanding. Check out our classroom ready teaching ideas on gender and democracy in the struggle to rectify the Equal Right Amendment to see what it looks like in action. Thank you.
थैंक यू मिस मेघा। छठा प्रश्न 20 अंकों के लिए आपकी स्क्रीन पर, ध्यान से खेलिएगा। निम्नलिखित में से कौन सा कैरोल के काम का शैक्षिक नेतिहार्थ है? Which one among the following is the educational implication of Carroll's work? A. Increased participation of women in education. B. Neglect women in education. C. Drop out women in education. D. Marginalize the female in main education system. दर्शकों, क्या लगता है आज ट्यूट 5 20 में से 20 नंबर ले जाने वाली पहली प्रतिभागी बनेगी?
ये क्लास में मैंने पढ़ा नहीं था तो डी डी को लॉक किया जाए।
डी को लॉक किया जाए। क्या आप श्योर हैं कोमल जी?
श्योर नहीं हूँ, बट बी को लॉक कर दीजिए।
बी को। क्या आपने अपने शिक्षक को ध्यान से सुना था कक्षा में,
शायद,
या नहीं सुना था? तभी आपका ये जवाब गलत होता है। 20 नंबर पाने से सिर्फ एक कदम दूर, मंजिल के इतना करीब आकर टीम ट्यूट 5 हो गई है शो से बाहर। तो देखा आपने दोस्तों, अपने शिक्षक को कक्षा में ध्यान से ना सुनने का नतीजा। उम्मीद है हम सब इस गलती से सबक लें और अपने शिक्षक को ध्यान से सुने। आइए अब इस प्रश्न का सही उत्तर जानते हैं हमारी एक्सपर्ट मिस निकिता भानुवती, चेयरमैन ऑफ डेरविन डोरे यूनिवर्सिटी, नजफगढ़।
Good afternoon, everyone. We all know that millions of girls around the world are being denied an education because they are exploited, discriminated against, or just ignored. These girls have the same hopes and dreams and as boys. They want to learn, fulfill their potential, work, and help their families and communities. Figure from UNICEF last year showed that about 32 millions girls of primary school age and 29 millions of lower secondary school age are not getting an education. Due to early marriage, it is estimated that every year 15 million girls are married before they turn 18. Lack of funding, daughters are perceived to be less valuable once educated and less likely to abide by the will of the father, brother, and husband. Often, male siblings will be given the chance to attend school instead because they are girls. Often, girls are marginalized and are out of school simply because they are girls, and it is not the cultural norms. When we talk about gender inequality in education, beside other factor, a factor known as moral dilemma is also present in it. Many times girls are withdrawn from school just because families cannot afford the education of the both male and female child, or there is difference between the academic exposure given to a male and a female child. If you notice that you have a student who appear disconnected and withdrawal, they may benefit from meeting with a school-based social workers or psychologist. These things can help a student explore their feeling, practice vulnerabilities, and cultivate new skills for relating that we will complete your work in the classroom. The evolution of modern schooling in the US has been shaped by values and modes of social organization in significant ways. This includes everything ranging from the individual who have served as teacher, how they have been compensated, and how their work is valued. Thank you, everyone.
थैंक यू मिस निकिता। इसी के साथ अलविदा दोस्तों, मिलते हैं नए एपिसोड में नए असाइनमेंट के साथ। चलते चलते कुछ पंक्तियां। जमीर जिंदा रख, कबीर जिंदा रख, सुल्तान भी बन जाए तो दिल में फकीर जिंदा रख, हार जा चाहे जिंदगी में सब कुछ, मगर फिर से जीतने की उम्मीद जिंदा रख। धन्यवाद।
वाह वाह वाह।
हम चाहेंगे हमारी स्पॉन्सर रुचि मैम 2 शब्द कहें।
Tutorial 5, excellent work, awesome work, a huge round of applause from all of us. Do you all agree?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.